The Zone at 91.3 presents The B-Side.
Dan, come, man.
Hey, Dylan, how you doing, buds?
Good, buddy. Good to see you.
Hi, Dan. Jason.
All right, so what do we got on the B-side today?
So I got a couple of things. One is local, and one is about to be local. And
Okay.
So the first one is there's something called the Cultural Center, First Persons Cultural Center. It's out in Brentwood Bay, which is my neck of the woods. And I just came across this about a month ago. They've worked with a tech company and created FirstVoices keyboards. So I don't know how many voices. I think there's over 100 different keyboards built into this app. So now if you have an iPhone or an Android, you go into the Apple Store, the Google Play Store, and you can download this app, and then it gives you a list. And right now they have every First Nations language from Canada and New Zealand already in there, and they've got quite a few from the U.S. And just to give you an idea how many that is, I just checked like coastal BC, 21 languages.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Really?
And so one of the, obviously, a big concern is as time passes, it gets harder and harder for heritage and tradition to carry on and pass on because you're subjected to so much other influence, right? And so one of the things that we're most worried about is the loss of languages, right? Hundreds, thousands of languages over time are disappearing because they get pushed out by other languages. And so the best way, obviously, to make sure people keep using them is that they use them amongst themselves. But now everybody's walking around with a phone. How do you encourage them to keep thinking and using that language to communicate? So they created an app for it, and it's on. I downloaded it on my phone. I haven't tried any of them yet because I don't know how to use any of them, but I wanted to see what the app looks like. It's really slick. Bunch of languages in there. You can pick multiple languages too, and then it's just your world keyboard. You know, the one that most people use for emojis?
Right, yeah.
That actually was invented for real purposes like this.
Like real languages.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Isn't that
people should
interesting?
check that one out. The other thing that's pretty cool that's going on is we're getting that amphitheater up in Cowichan.
Laketown Ranch.
Right, so 17,000 people, is that
Yeah.
the capacity number? So I didn't fully appreciate what an amphitheater can do until I went to Shoreline Amphitheatre, which is what we call the Bay Area, just outside of Sunnyvale, California. And I've seen a couple of shows there, and what a venue, like a historical venue. That one was built by the Grateful Dead, and it was built because they were too weird for San Francisco. And think about that.
Yeah, just
Right?
digest that for a moment.
Time, that day and age, they were too weird for San Francisco, so they went way out of town. Now Google's down the street.
Yeah.
Right? So actually, I think the Shoreline Amphitheater is probably directly responsible for the internet. It's the best I can tell by proximity. Right? Apple's around the corner, Facebook's
right.
around the corner. But this theater is just a great place to gather. There's, the seats way up in the grass, and then there's the ones down below. Legendary acts go through there. And I was there one time, and I really like telling this story because I think everybody's pretty confident Eddie Vedder is a good guy. But I'm at the Shoreline Amphitheater, and thanks to some great people locally in town, I'm able to go walk around in some of the restricted areas, and I'm standing backstage, and I'm amongst many vice presidents of record companies. And nothing against record companies, I just didn't find the conversation all that stimulating. So I'm looking around, and I look over, and there's a guy just in a trucker's hat leaning against the wall. That's Mr. Eddie Vedder. Eddie Vedder is just leaning on a wall. So Neil Young puts on this benefit called the Bridge School benefit. It's to raise money for a school called the Bridge School that they built for his son, who's physically handicapped. Mm-hmm. Cut to a little while later, nobody's bothering him, nothing's going on. I'm like, why is he here? Like, he's a volunteer. I'm like, what's he do? And he's like, well, when we go to like Fun or Foster the People and say it's time for your interview, they're like, yeah, I'll be there in a second. Like, when Eddie Vedder walks up to them and says, hey, it's time for your video interview, they run behind him to the video interview, right? So
that is amazing.
He's hanging out.
Amazing.
And then it was unbelievable. So great things happen at amphitheaters.
Yeah.
Google was
You're
founded down the
willing
road.
this to happen, these kinds of things
I'm just
to
gonna
happen
be, all I want to do is like hang around in my own trucker hat backstage and watch all this cool stuff happen for the rest of my life. But I'm so excited for the cultural scene in Victoria and Greater Victoria and the island that we're going to have something like that, where just the acts we're going to be able to draw here, the times people are going to have there, the memories that are going to get made there, the impact we're going to have, as they say in the tech world, the dent on the universe that this is going to make. It's going to be fantastic. We're so lucky.
Nice.
You're totally right. Well, thank you so much. If people want to get more information about the app you were talking about.
Yeah, they can always check thebside.com.
Dan Gunn, thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Dan.